popular Facebook page of any, are you kidding me, any sports radio station in the Tri-Cities. We have 3 of them. Didn't used to have any. We have 3 now. We're the most popular on Facebook. Say what you will. Anyway, you were talking a little bit about Aubrey Solomon. What's it going to take to see if this guy is eligible or not? On the similar vein, I know the Missouri Tigers have appealed their
It's actually pretty easy for me to do because I was thinking there's still the 4th toughest schedule either way. I think it's the 4th toughest game. I think if the bowl ban is not listed, Missouri, because of the nature of college football now, where unless you're in the playoff or playing for a championship, a lot of teams don't really care about the bowl games anyway, or particularly a lot of individual players. I think Missouri will still be playing with everything to gain in November, and they'll maybe on a tear out of anger over it and trying to prove something. So, I randomly was going back through history a couple of years ago, or a couple of days ago, and I realized that it's almost, because the college football playoff now has 3 games, it's almost like back in the 50s when there were only 4 bowl games. So, if you were going to make it to a bowl, it wasn't a big deal. And I mean, Auburn technically won a national championship in 1957 while they were on probation, suffering a bowl ban. And so we're almost returning back to that for how excited teams get to play a season now.
I agree. I think there are far too many bowl games. I mean, I'm not sure how many people really... Oh, we get to go to Boise. And I can see wanting to go to Boston, on vacation or something like that. But in December to play football at Fenway Park, I don't know about that one. I mean, if you want to do a retro game at Fenway Park against Boston College, and your team is going to play there, I could see making that road trip. But have 7-5 play 7-5. I mention this because Fenway Park is now going to have a bowl game. I don't know about that. It's not so sure. That sort of thing. So now, what do you think is the most difficult game for the Tennessee Volunteers this year? I'm guessing Alabama, but, Florida usually is always an L. And, hey, Georgia came really close in the preseason media poll to Alabama. So are the Crimson Tide still your toughest team to beat, or is it somebody else?
Yes, they're still my toughest team to beat. The home road factor does come into play, and Tennessee's playing at Alabama this year. They get Georgia at home, which is why I actually have Florida ahead of Georgia, too. Now, let me be clear. This isn't a knock on Georgia. I think those 3 teams are, interchangeable in the sense of how almost certain I am that they're all going to beat Tennessee. And so, I mean, I kind of had, a tier level. I mean, Tennessee's got 3 circled wins and 3 circled losses, and then 1 likely win and 1 likely loss. I think BYU's a likely win, Missouri's a likely loss, and then I think every other game is a toss-up pretty much.
I'll see that.
So, yeah, and so I'm like, they're starting off, I see them at 4-4 with 3 sure Florida is the favorite to win the East over Georgia this year.
Florida over Georgia. You like Mullen his second year, but what about the Schadenfreude that Tennessee fans have to be feeling with the demise, the defensive back that has just been cut from the Gators team and all this? How influential do you think the off-field woes of the Florida Gators could be to prevent them from being a serious challenger to the Georgia Bulldogs this year?
Oh, that's very possible. I mean, look, gun to my head on talent, I think Georgia's way more talented, honestly. A little more talented. I wouldn't say way more. And I do trust Kirby Smart as a head coach. But Georgia is changing offensive coordinators. Dan Mullen has his system, by the way, changing offensive coordinators by way of Tennessee. But Dan Mullen does have his system fully in place. I've seen enough of Dan Mullen to know he can adapt his spread as defensive coordinators figure it out over time, where a lot of coaches can't do that. Which is why, the spread was the fad at the start of this decade, but you've noticed a lot of teams are running the spread now, and it's just not working the same. But I think Dan Mullen is one of there's always those guys that run the gadget offense, and they stay relevant because they can adapt the gadget offense to whatever time period they're playing in. Very similar to how Steve Spurrier used to do the fun and gun. People figured it out. He went to South Carolina, and he learned how to adjust it to what the SEC was doing at that point. Dan Mullen strikes me as that type of coach. He's got a lot of talent. Again, I'm not sure yet who I'm going to pick between the two, because, again, Georgia does have more talent, but I'm just such a believer in Dan Mullen and his schemes. I said 2 years ago that Tennessee, I know everybody was going for the Gruden hire, and I give Curry credit for trying to get Dan Mullen to Knoxville, even though Dan Mullen chose Florida. But I always said that Dan Mullen, I thought, was the best choice on paper for the Vols to go after.
Yeah.
They didn't get him, but at least they tried.
That was one of the things that Tennessee fans were looking at. I do think, though, I guess this is why when I asked you before about Butch Jones, or should we let this go? Because I think that Tennessee fans may be blaming bad coach more than changes in college football, or even cultures of states. Because I ask, why does Florida dominate the rivalry? Well, last year there were 211 players in the NFL from Florida. There were only 37 from Tennessee. That's quite the gap. You might expect, therefore, Florida to beat Tennessee with some regularity when I tell you those numbers. And I know that, you can talk about, out-of-state recruiting, and Tennessee has always done it. But for that matter, Florida's a glamour program that can get a player from Georgia or wherever they want to, for that matter, as well, if it comes down to that. So, go ahead.
I don't think anybody is really shocked. I think a lot of people do understand how Florida has dominated the series the last 15 years. I think it was just that 4-year stretch from 2014 to 2017 where Florida was, even if you do have a lot of talent, you can be down as a program, and Florida was really down as a program during that time.
Yeah.
And Tennessee was, I wouldn't necessarily say up, but they did have their best 3-year run since letting go of Fulmer during that period. And there were, and again, talent or no talent, Butch Jones single-handedly lost them those other 3 games to Florida, and then they won the one in 2016. But 2014, 2015, and 2017, you could put those squarely on Butch Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And so, talent or no talent, there is no way he should have lost those games. And it's just, I don't care how untalented you are. If you're on the 1-yard line against Florida, and Florida has their 10 best players suspended, and Florida has Jim McElwain coaching them on that side, who is just as incompetent as Butch Jones. When it comes to decision-making, they shouldn't be losing that game.
Now, remember how bad, it was like what Hunter S. Thompson once said about his gonzo journalism article, The Kentucky Derby is Decadent and Depraved, where he basically turned in a story. It was half-written, and it was called Brilliant. He said it was like falling down an elevator shaft and then falling into a sea with mermaids all around you. That was Franks to Cleveland. Here, Florida, they had no clue what to do in a 2-minute offense. What in the world is going on? And they hit on a 60 63-yard pass last play of the game to win it. I mean, it was, people forget how mismanaged that 2-minute drive was that actually won the game by Florida. So how mismanaged was it, actually? It turned out to win. Hey, I got a minute left. You say 5 reasonable goals for Tennessee this year. What's the most reasonable in your opinion?
I think the most reasonable is to try to make a bowl game in the abstract of things. But I think the biggest one, the first step to really getting to where they want to go is to win all 4 out-of-conference games. They're almost sure to win 3. They should beat BYU. If they don't beat BYU, it'll be a long season. If they do, it doesn't necessarily mean it'll be a good season, but it's at least one minor hurdle that's behind them. So I think the first thing they should focus on is trying to go undefeated in non-conference play this year.
I agree, and I think the Georgia State game should be looked at. What kind of pass rush do the Vols have? Because BYU is a real good quarterback, and that's the way you're going to stop him. Don't stop going to Asian House to eat. Don't stop reading allfortennessee.com. Don't stop listening. We're going to be back in the second hour. It's Tri-City Sports Now. You've been listening to Asian House Vols Talk with Caleb Calhoun of All for Tennessee.